everybody, welcome to The Obsession. I'm Karl.
I am Mike Stadler.
How we doing, Mike?
Doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good, well, pretty good, yeah.
End of the year, Mike.
Yes, it is. Close to Christmas here. End of December, end of year, end of our hunting season a while ago.
Yeah, we're going to bring this to you guys. This will air on December 31st, 2022.
Yeah, buddy.
I think we'll do a year in review, Mike.
Year in review.
Year in review. It's hard to believe it's been a year we've been doing this podcast already.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah. And
we have like 5 people that like us.
5 whole people. It's getting there, yeah. Things are going pretty darn good. But we came up with this idea. People ask us a bunch of questions, and we figured we'd start answering them all and do a podcast about it.
Yep.
So that's how it all started, and now things are getting bigger. We appreciate you guys watching and listening. By the way, watching on YouTube, listening on all the podcasts.
Right. You know all the channels.
Right. I don't know.
RSS.com.
Yeah. Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify. We're working on a couple other ones too, but
Yeah, it's been good. I haven't seen people yesterday. Not the greatest day, but they were asking me about it.
Yeah.
Said that they watch it and love it, which is great. I'm like, great.
Glad it's getting bigger.
Yeah, I was hoping not to get punched in the mouth by somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I think you suck.
There'll
so
be,
do I. Don't worry about it.
I thought that right about towards the end of our whitetail season too.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're going to talk about. We're already back at it. We've already started filming.
Yeah, we started filming. We already did some work.
Which you guys will see that stuff coming up early. So let's just talk about our outputs quick. So we have the podcast, we have YouTube, we have our hunts, which are airing during the hunting season, and then we also have SPL, which is small property layouts, which, like Mike said, we've already started on this year. So you guys are going to start to see that stuff come back in. So we'll be talking about what we do every year to our properties, with our properties, to change things, to make them better. And that'll come out probably every 2 weeks, I think, is what we'll probably start out with, depending on how much we're actually doing, because, December, January, February, March, there's really only so much you can do on the property.
Yeah.
So, but we'll be talking about all of that, and you guys seen that last year and enjoyed that. People are commenting and watching the show, watching that weekly. So we appreciate all that.
One of the neat things too is I know you have a few people that contact you all the time. I have a few that contact me all the time that had success from things that they implemented that we taught them or that they listened to from us. I guess however way you want to look at it, and harvested bucks.
Yes,
which was awesome.
I really liked seeing that.
That was really cool. And I know on my end, a couple of people I talked to, both small properties that they hunt.
Yep.
So same thing we do.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool to see people doing that. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I'll show you guys a few pictures of some of the people who have actually watched the show and had success this year. I'm not going to say any names because I didn't ask them if I could use their names. So, but we do have permission to use the pictures, so we'll show you that to you guys.
I know there's a few of them that would like to sit in.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we're actually talking about bringing some guests in.
We have people that like us.
Yeah, there's one or two people actually like us, I guess. Besides our wives.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah. They didn't get much of a choice. But, we already started here at Mike's place, like I said, with the small property stuff for this year. Yep. Last year, we had a bunch of stuff to do on both properties. So we're going to kind of review what we did throughout the year. I'll show you guys on the video here as we talk through stuff about how we did some of our layouts, why we did what we did. And then we'll show you the success of all of our hunts throughout this show, too.
Yes.
So we did complete a trifecta each, which was a #1 goal. Took some work.
It did. It was hard. I don't think I know on my end, I don't think I really sat down and even thought about it until probably a week ago, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's December 18th today.
Yeah.
You know, and excited and upset at the same time and stuff.
Well.
You know, and then to sit back and look at what we had to do to even make that happen. And, you know, obviously the luck that had to be involved too was some of it, and, you know, the hard work, obviously, and you know, the animals that were taken were phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, and really like a testament to what you don't see on TV is always everybody shooting this. Everything is absolute giant, absolute slammer, absolute, you know, and you know, and there was people that said some things to me over the course of us doing this that I found just unbelievable to me.
Yeah, good and bad.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you know, about, well, why did you shoot that, or why did he shoot this? And it's like, have you ever been in any of these situations?
Right.
You know, where you're out there and you're working and trying to get, you know, an opportunity on an animal, especially in another state.
Oh, and especially if it's a new piece.
Yeah.
Never been there before. I mean,
it blows my mind the way people think. I'm like, you're really missing the point of everything.
Yeah.
If you're, and we've preached it a million times, you know, on an animal with a bow as a trophy and the work put in, like, you know, I mean, we'll get into each hunt too, but
right.
You know, it's not easy. And
yeah.
To be able to do what we did is,
it's a major accomplishment.
Huge
is what it is,
for us,
I think. And the sizes of the animals, you know, I don't understand why people they don't get the idea of the hunt. There's people that say that to me. Majority of them are the type of people that are out for the wrong reasons. They're out there to try and impress somebody else. That or they're just jealous, and they want to talk down somebody else's accomplishment. That I've seen multiple times, and people like that I just don't deal well with. You know. Let it go. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it's not something I do. I don't really look at somebody else's deer and go, "Oh, why'd you shoot that?" Or, I mean, why would you even say that? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Right.
You know, everybody does know we're both not big gun hunters, but that's because we prefer to hunt with our bows. So we will definitely continue to bow hunt and push through. A lot of questions, a lot of comments on our QDM stuff too. So we will also review that over the next few months and multiple podcasts. So watch for that. But so we'll probably start the year out with, you know, last year, one of our bigger things that came up right away was Mike plowing his food plots with his tractor, and why he did it. And you know, we didn't have a ton of snow last year, but there in the beginning we had one or two really good snowstorms, and you had quite a few deer on the property.
I did.
And so you figured, heck, let's give them easier access to get to it.
I was actually, it's funny you say that because I was just talking to a guy last night that I was going to do it again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put I got a I don't know, a compact tractor, Kubota, that I have a snow pusher for, and I used that that's actually the only time I used it was to clean out my food plots. I plowed snow actually with my plow truck, so. But yeah, I was thinking about doing it again because I do have deer on the property. I mean, the food's there.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'm probably gonna go do it again down in the bottom plot.
I think that was actually a really big success, and if you guys have the opportunity to do that, you should try and do that. Check that out. If you got a brassica plot, you know, where obviously they've eaten all the greens down off of it, and you get a chance to kind of open it up the space so it's easier for the deer to get to the bulbs. I think that's probably a pretty good idea, because I know at my place, you know, I can't get in there and do that.
No.
And I think if I was to do that, I'd probably bring more deer into the area. So that was one of the big ones right off the bat that people really thought was pretty cool, and not a lot of people think about for sure.
Yeah.
And then of course we started talking about how we're laying our properties out, things that we were going to change, you know, and we changed quite a few things here on your place, but we also changed a bunch on my place. So on my place, we had to do a bunch of different things. You know, we added a bunch of food, and we'll show you guys kind of the layouts there. We actually discussed putting in a few different cornfields, changed the way the brassica and stuff was done, all of that, and it laid out pretty well. Ended up being successful on the property again. So we'll show you guys all that. We had a lot of questions about why we lay out the properties in levels, because you guys hear Mike and I talk about levels all the time. I just think it's an easier way to break your property up, and you can work at certain parts of everything in certain levels.
Right.
You know.
Well, it's. I think it gives us a lot better options throughout the year too, morning and night, because you can. You know, we talk all the time about pushing deer the way we want them to go, funneling where we want them. So, you know, setting up our properties is mostly so we can get in and out too, and hunt them at the right times and keep them on the property.
Yeah.
So,
well, guess what? We're going to change it up again.
we've already started. We changed mine up quite a bit, because we critique our stuff all year, and you know, halfway through our whitetail season, we were unhappy with what we did, and I don't think it was anything to do with probably what we did, but just wasn't yielding the results we wanted.
There was a lot of variables this year, which we'll get into a little bit later, but I'll show you guys that. And then, of course, midway through the summer, I had a heart attack halfway through the year, July 5th, actually. Not that I wasn't working out or whatever, but I sure the hell wasn't eating right. And there's a lot of things involved with that, which put me a little bit behind. Came back, obviously, worked my way back so we could hunt in the fall, setting goals and accomplishing things. Mike laid out a workout program for me, which worked out really well, which I'm still doing currently. And just because of his background, he knows rehab.
You do.
So
done in a little while.
Yeah. So we got that back up and running, and Mike came out and helped me on a bunch of things here on the property that you guys. I'll show you guys some of the stuff, but we did some, obviously the food plot stuff, laying out mock scrapes, putting up stands, all of that. We had our buddy Phil come out with us too, and he helped. And of course, my wife was there every weekend also. So that was pretty good. Coming back quickly. So I feel great now, and I'm down 26 pounds, so at the end of the year. But we'll be better for next year, because we got bigger and better plans. Correct. But on Mike's place, too, we did some stuff on the front main plot. So we put in those, we'll call them micro plots across the front. We should talk about how that worked out for us.
Yeah. I thought it was an awesome idea. We both did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. As the year went on, we had deer in them. I think the problem with them, one of the problems with them was getting around them and getting in, which is already an issue at my property anyway. Because we always had deer now down inside the corn basically. Whereas normally they stay out of the corn until, late. They don't really, they're in now, yes, but, with the food in the corn, it was just too much. I think it took away from my bottom plot for sure, which has always been phenomenal, no matter what I had in it.
Yeah.
And
I think it brought them more to the front of the property.
Yeah.
Which was a mistake. Probably.
Which, I don't think is what we wanted, So, we did set the property up to keep them more on this side, but not necessarily feeding in this side. So we had water issues. We were out of water all year. My regular pond went dry for some reason. We had a lot of rain. My water holes, I couldn't keep them full.
Right. Well, I think you had. There's benefits and benefits and problems with everything there, but the benefit was you had more deer on the property.
Yeah.
The problem was you couldn't keep them happy, I guess, water-wise.
Yeah.
So that was tough, especially when it came to later in the year.
Yep.
That was a big oops on our part.
Yeah.
Which has been addressed.
address. You'll see it later.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything now, but we already started to fix that problem.
Yep.
Actually, we did fix that problem.
It's fixed.
So it's done. But yeah, that was one of the issues. I mean, but one good thing, that came up that I think is going to be awesome that I can't wait for now, is because we already did this too, is we're going to eliminate some of that stuff, and we already did something different.
Oh, yes.
Which I think is going to be awesome, and I
Yeah.
really like to talk about it, but I'm not going to talk about it.
No, you guys watch.
I'm going to make you wait.
Watch for the small property layout.
So
come check that out here at the beginning of the year, and you will see what we've done.
But like we said, we learned. As we sit here, you and I both sat here. There's things we got to change.
Yeah.
I
need more bedding.
Yeah, the same thing we said when we sat your property.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I really noticed was, where I sat there, and I sat there I think 2 or 3 times, and we had changed our corn and put more in, but the problem was how the deer come off and can see into it.
Off the hillside.
And where they come off and where our stand location is right in line of sight.
Yeah, it has to change.
So that has to change, Obviously we want to change that. We want to change the bedding there.
Yeah, I actually think we're
and move them.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
Basically.
move them a little bit, and that'll take quite a bit of work. That'll be coming up too. We'll show that to you guys in the next shows. But for us, the property layout throughout the year is the fun part. The strategy of getting everything ready. And you guys, a lot of you guys have asked, and I'm just gonna throw it at Mike right now, right in front of all of you guys. Because he hasn't prepared for this or anything, but quite a few have asked if we would be willing to come to your property, make an assessment, and make layouts. And we discussed it before, and I said no. Mike said maybe. So, we'll discuss it further.
We've talked about it. I know that.
And we'll get some pricing and stuff together, I think. And we will be more than willing to come and work with a few of you. We're not going to take on too many starting here the first year. Those of you who have gotten a hold of me will be obviously the first group to be actually have the opportunity for us to do it. Realize we're only going to do maybe a couple of you a month. And that's just due to us not having time. We've got everything else we do. Real jobs. All of that.
Those suck.
Yeah, but we'll discuss it, and we'll let you guys know here shortly, and we'll make a company name, and then we'll move forward from there. So I appreciate you guys reaching out to us and asking us to come to your properties and help with, helping you guys make small properties better. I think we'll stay with properties that are 100 acres or less. I want to stay with small properties.
Yeah.
A couple of you got with me that have 500-600 acre properties. We are not going to take on a project that big. That's just my view on it. The cost for doing that and the time involved is too much. But smaller properties, 100 acres or less, those of you who want to have us check out your properties, you'll be able to get a hold of me. We'll bring the information out here within the next month or so. And then we'll work forward from there. Like I said, we're going to probably only take 2 to 3 customers a month, and that'll be based off of our schedules. There will be no customers from the middle of August all the way through the middle of December, because we're out hunting.
Correct.
So that's the way that's going to roll. That being said, let's get into the hunting season. So we started in
South Dakota.
chasing antelope.
Yeah, about it.
First couple days of September 10th, I think we left.
Yeah,
or
we
something.
went the second weekend we left.
Yep.
The second weekend of September, right after Labor Day.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you this right now. What did you expect when we were going there?
Expect as far as what? You mean just in general?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was a first year thing for us. We hadn't done that. We had never been to this place. We were actually introduced by one of the ranchers that we go someplace else at. He actually owns this land. And the people that live there are great people. Tim and his wife and the girls and their son.
It probably sounds arrogant, but I expected us to kill 2 animals.
I did too.
I just thought we would. We knew nothing about the property, the layout of it, where it was till we drove there.
Right.
I mean, we looked at it. Took a couple of friends of ours with us that had never been out there before either. Karl and I hunt together, and the other 2 hunted together. So, it was hard. I mean, It's hot. It's hot, out there. And I have people yet that still came up to me like, "Oh, yeah, I shot an antelope out there." And they didn't even know that we did it with a bow. I'm like, "Yeah, we did it with a bow." Like, "You shot it with a bow?
Yeah.
How do you shoot an antelope with a bow?" And I'm like,
it was not easy.
It's not easy.
I can say that.
Even Tim, that runs the property out there, said, he's like, "I've never seen anybody that shot antelope with a bow before."
Yeah, and everybody out there is gun.
So they thought it was pretty cool. And obviously we're going to go back.
Right.
We had a great time. They were great people.
Right.
The terrain is flat.
Yeah.
With rolling hills.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not. It's tough to spot and stalk. You spot.
Yeah.
You can spot.
Yeah.
But the stalk and
get close enough is tough.
It's not easy. And
yeah, we did blind hunt one, decoyed one in, which is an option out there, which I'll tell you is also very hard. And then the other one was obviously Mike's was a spot stalk, and a great shot, and not a short shot at 75 yards on a great animal, by the way. Giant antelope. Well, giant in our books. I don't know what it scores. Don't care what it scores. It's a big antelope.
Yeah.
So that was a great hunt. But there was a lot of work involved with that. First few days we were struggling, trying to figure out how things worked.
Trying to figure the property out and how to use the terrain to our advantage. Stuff like that. And it's and I don't. When I talk to people, I don't try to sound like, we're some experts, but we've done it a long time, so it helps. Yeah. Especially what we've done in North Dakota for so long. And I'll tell you what, if I knew, and we say this all the time, if I knew the things I know now 20 years ago,
oh my God,
I'd probably have, and I'm not even, just realistically, I'd probably have 6 to 8 more huge mule deer on my wall.
Oh yeah.
That I screwed up on, easily. Not that I still don't screw up, but
yeah.
Is that what I'm talking
about? Learning how to do that stuff, and the 2 that went with us learned it.
They learned
the hard way.
Yeah,
a lot more, and we did hunt with them after we were done, and we did get on a lot of animals.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, they had more shots than we did.
Yeah, and everybody had opportunities. That's Karl and I always say we're better at guiding other people than we are hunting ourselves. It seems like no, we're not going to guide anybody.
No, that's not happening.
So
yeah.
But yeah, it was tough, hot. It was in the 90s.
Yeah, and you were hiking. I think. Well, I know that last day when we were following that one on Phil.
Yeah.
JR and I were 5-6 miles away from you guys.
Yep.
And we were in 2 or 3 miles when you called me.
Yep.
JR had that opportunity, which I'll show you guys that hunt, and. Mike called me, said him and Phil were on one, were in a good position, and needed some help. Well, after what happened with Gerald, we backed back out, so that's 3 miles in, 3 miles out, then bringing the truck around, and then Mike and Phil were 4 or 5 miles in.
Yeah, we were in deep.
So JR and I went in there, and then we had to split up. I had to go get the truck, bring it around to the other side, so I left there. So I had 16 miles on my legs, and you guys were probably 16 to 20 miles on yours with everything you were doing.
Yep.
So that's one day.
Yeah.
On your legs.
Yeah, that's one day. So we got back to the house. Those 2 were nighty night. And I'm like, "You guys tired?" Like, "You better rest up because we're going tomorrow again."
That's right.
And it's, that's one thing, like, you'll know, if you know us, there ain't no quitting. There isn't no, "Oh, I'm sore." Nobody cares.
No.
You know,
Work harder.
because the days go away quick. You know, and like we talk a lot. You'll see us on our well, it's day 1, it's day 2. All of a sudden, it's day 6,
Yeah.
and you're done in 2 days, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, spotting and stalking, and the people that haven't done it, you have to make something happen.
Oh yeah.
Which is not what you do. You know, archery, whitetail hunting. You don't make things happen. You put yourself in position where things can happen.
Right.
I think more than, I guess, but
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. You know, if you're hunting out of a tree stand, I'm not saying you're not making things happen, but you're putting yourself in a position for more things to happen, less variables to be bad for you.
yeah,
That's how I look at whitetail hunting. Where when you're out west, you're spotting and stalking, like Mike's talking about now, the antelope. I mean, you spot them 1.5 miles, 2 miles off, and all you have is rolling hills. You have to figure out a way to get there without them seeing you. And they've got 10 power binoculars. That's all they look through.
for eyes. Yeah. And it's hard when you go and all of a sudden you get to where you want to be, and guess what?
They're not
They're not there no more.
No.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Where'd they go?
He moved, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
they're looking at you from another
Yeah.
hillside.
It's you know, don't get us wrong. I'm not saying whitetail hunting's not hard.
No.
Whitetail hunting's very hard.
You guys have all seen those memes where it's got a picture of a kind of a stocky dude built like a brick
Oh, yeah.
shit house. He's an elk hunter. And then there's an all ripped up guy, and he's a I don't know, a mule deer hunter or whatever. And then a heavy set guy in the corner, and it says whitetail hunter. No offense, but there's a lot to that. The other part about that too is, and the guys that went with us will realize, I mean, and they'll tell you, both of them will tell you that too, the conditioning is important, you know, and if you don't do it year round, you'll pay in the end.
You'll
You
pay.
will be unsuccessful.
Yep.
You will not fill your tag.
Yeah, we talk about all the time, and if you watch any of our podcasts, and this is things that I tell Phil all the time. I said my biggest thing has always been control the things you can control.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and make sure you don't let yourself down, because there's enough to go wrong out there anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so your conditioning you can control, your shooting ability you can control.
Yeah.
You know, and it's simple things that you're not going to think of here if you've never done it. And we watched, you know, and I'm not going to throw both of them under the bus, but it's just because they don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, just having how your equipment's set up, where are your binos, where is your rangefinder, you know,
Yeah.
how come you only have 3 arrows in your quiver?
Right.
I mean, it's little things like that that'll cost you an animal,
Oh yeah. Because
and you might not get another shot.
you're 5 miles in, you got 3 arrows, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you shoot an arrow, and also now you have 2 because you're not going to find it.
No.
Chances are you're not going to find it.
No, in the grasslands, you'll
Yeah.
never find it.
You know, and also maybe you take another shot. Now you got an arrow. You got 1 arrow. You got 2 guys. You got 1 bow, 1 arrow.
What happens if that last arrow you hit that animal back? Now you got no arrow.
Yeah, it's
What are you gonna do?
yeah. You got to be prepared, and you know things have to come easier to you. You know,
Yeah.
like how we wear our binos, how we have our rangefinders, how things are set, how we, you know, Karl and I are kind of tuned into setting our pin as we walk,
Yes.
ranging things as we're walking and moving things, and when we get to a certain point, we're probably not going to range anymore.
No.
You know, because now we know our area around us, we know our pin is set at say 60.
Yeah.
Okay, he's coming at 70. All right,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Right.
I don't need to range him anymore. I don't need to reset my pin. I know where my bow shoots.
Yeah. The other part about that too, hunting is a 2-man team. I mean, and I think a lot of that comes from our military background.
It is a huge asset.
Yeah, you have to trust the guy that you're with, and you guys hear us talk about it all the time. You know, I trust Mike when he calls and he tells me 45 yards, 60 yards, 70 yards, because we check our equipment against each other. That probably was a little tough for JR and Phil.
Yeah, well, it's not a learned habit.
Yeah.
We've learned it.
Yeah, well,
You know,
right.
over a lot of failure. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we've had plenty of failure.
You know, and
You know.
I'll say 100%. I mean, in my opinion, out west this year, both times, I don't think we killed either of the 4 animals we killed if we're not together.
No. Agreed.
Because we teamed on all of them.
Every single
You
one.
know, there was some aspect of each of them that we worked together to get them.
Oh yeah.
You know? So it's a, you know, that's a huge accomplishment to the other guy helping.
Yes.
You know, in our aspect, like we're not worried about.
I think it's.
Oh, mine's bigger.
Yeah, Jesus.
Nobody cares.
No,
I mean, we don't care.
I don't care. No.
You know, when I can remember this, and it's probably on film. I don't know when yours was coming in, and you know, we're like, well, he's a younger buck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll shoot him. Carl's like, no, I'm shooting him. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't care.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna get if we get an opportunity, I mean, we're taking it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not.
Especially when your opportunities are far few in between. When you're out west hunting, well, even whitetail hunting. I mean, you think about that. Whether it's whitetail, antelope, mule deer, elk, whatever you're hunting, you get that 1-2 times a year
Yeah.
that you have to perform. You have to make that shot.
Yeah.
You know, and every time you're practicing, that's what you should be thinking. I mean, don't be that, and I'll say it right out loud right now. Don't be that person picks up your damn bow a week before the season and expects to be able to shoot deer.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to happen. If you're going out west, that'll never happen.
No.
And I straight up tell you that right
Yeah.
now. Because 50 yards is a short shot out there.
Yeah, it is. It is.
A 40 is a gimme. There's no reason you should ever miss that shot. Well,
Everybody's gonna rub that in. We'll get to that one.
yeah, well, on both sides, don't feel alone. You know, somebody else has got a really nice 5x5.
I am aware.
Yeah.
I was told.
Yeah, so, but that's coming. Like I said, we were antelope hunting. We were both
Yep.
successful. Mike made a great shot at 75 yards. An awesome animal. Mine was 40 yards.
40 yards.
Yep. And you guys will see in the video, he ducks the first one.
Oh, I know. Unbelievable.
I thought I made a bad shot. You didn't even hear Mike say, he's like, you pulled it over him. Well, I mean, he's watching real time through a video frame like this big, so it looked like it went over him. But when we slow it down, you guys will see it on the video here. It wasn't a bad shot.
No, it was a great shot.
But he didn't make it the second time. Somebody aimed low.
He did not.
But then, you know, we come back, and the whitetail season had started.
Yep.
And right off the bat, you know, we were doe hunting. I took a doe. You guys will see that here. One of the girls at work wanted a doe. I had too many doe on the property. And I took a doe off right away for her. And of course, we had full intentions of taking more does. And our season started to slip away from us pretty quickly.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it was, every time we went someplace to shoot a doe, they weren't
there anymore.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. And, you know, as the whitetail season progressed, we had some challenges.
Yeah, it was. You know, we had a lot of good bucks on both properties.
We did.
You know that were there a lot, were there consistently. We talked about it earlier of why I think some of mine were real on and off late,
Mm-hmm.
and it cost one of them his life.
Yeah.
You know, the one I was mainly after.
Yeah,
And I know right where he killed him, and I know that there's a stream that runs through there.
Yep.
So in my head, I lost that deer because of my water issue.
Yep.
You know, because he was here
He was here all
every day.
for weeks.
Almost every day I had him on camera.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the deer that I wanted, deer that I let go last year. You know, so, you know, and they just all went away. And we didn't see anything on both properties. And we're on vacation. And we're like, where the hell are all the deer?
Well, we were seeing stuff. I mean, the
Sure,
majority.
deer, but not what we wanted.
No,
You know,
and the other part of that was, you know, our weather wasn't cooperating.
Yeah, it was warm.
The first week wasn't so bad. We expected to actually make a kill early.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was nocturnal because the temperatures were rising. This year we had an unbelievable amount of acorns.
Yeah.
And even on my property, I don't have a lot of oaks. I mean, I have oaks, but not, you know, not like what Mike's got here. Mike's entire woods was like gravel.
Yeah. It was all acorns.
Yeah, they were random. The deer were random.
Yeah.
They were almost unpatternable. They weren't on the greens like we expected them to be. The water wasn't here.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, I agree. I think the water was the big one for you. For me, I had water. But there was a lot going on down at my place, too, that I think was I had a lot of pictures of people shining on my property. And not that it's illegal in the state of Wisconsin, but it annoys the hell out of me. So all my deer were there, but they were nocturnal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course it started to get later. So we take the last week of October, first week of November off. You guys all know that. From October 20th through the full first week of November, Mike and I are on vacation. We believe that that's the best time. Pre-rut time is when we shoot most of our bucks. That's when we're on vacation. And all of a sudden the temperature dropped. It was October 29th.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody got a chance.
Yeah.
We split up, actually,
yeah,
because we wanted to see what was going on and get Phil some wood stand too.
Yeah, we weren't liking anything we were seeing, obviously. So, we had talked about, we were coming back from Karl's property, and I'm like, well, I'm taking Phil tomorrow at my place, because, he helped us do a lot of work, so I wanted to get him in a stand.
Mm-hmm.
And, we weren't seeing a lot, so I'm like, well, let's get, we'll sit mine in the morning, Karl's going to go to a different spot and sit. We're just going to see what happened, and, that night, because I have cell cams, everybody knows that.
Well, they had cut the corn, too.
Yeah, they cut the corn that week, and, that night I had a flyer buck showed up on my camera again, and I hadn't seen him for weeks.
Yeah.
So I knew he was here again, so I was excited just because I knew there was at least one good deer here.
Right.
And picked a stand that you and I hung.
Yep.
Specifically for the rut, to hunt it.
Yep.
It's, it's about 3/4 of the way down the north side of my ridge, above a bedding trail, by my biggest bedding area.
Yep.
On the east end of that. So where, they trail out of there a lot. Never hunted there before.
Nope.
Never even sat the stand before. So that was where I was going. I put Phil on the same ridge about, probably 800 yards from me.
Yeah, it's 800
I think
yards
on a water hole where we have a lot of bucks run.
Yep.
And it was real quick. Like I turned around like I was going to get out of the stand. I was.
Well, let's get later in the morning.
Get later in the morning. I was pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, this stand sucks. Every stand sucks. Everything I did is wrong.
What am I doing?
Everybody knows this.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it. So,
frustration.
and I'm literally standing up and honestly screwing around with the seat on this stand because it's making noise. And I'm like, why is the stand making noise? It's new. And I look, to my left, and here he comes. He's already on the trail, and he's already, at 35 yards.
Yeah.
And I'm bumbling around up there, and whatever. Like you talk about, everything just went automatic at that point.
Yeah.
And I made a 23-4 yard shot on him, I think, and he went maybe 50, 60 yards and was done.
Yeah.
It was quick.
Yeah, it was a great shot.
And
on a great deer.
Yeah, and on the deer I wanted next.
Yeah.
He was on my list.
Yep.
And like I said, I was more than willing to let him go had I had the opportunity at the 10.
Yeah, but you had, what was it, 25 or 26 days you hadn't seen King? No pictures of him.
No.
And
so
then,
I figured he was gone.
Yeah. Hey, you took Flyer in to the place where you're going to...
Yeah. So I take him in. There's a local guy out here, great guy, that cuts up deer and capes, his own little business. So I take him over. He's only a couple miles from the house.
Yeah.
And so I walk in to just fill out the paperwork, and I said, there's a deer laying on the floor that he's cutting up, and I look at him like, well, I know that deer. And it was King. If any of you guys that watch us, I had a lot of pictures of him, 10-pointer. And he got shot basically, I don't know, kitty corner from my place, a quarter mile away.
Yeah.
With the bow. So that was a little heartbreaking for me to see that.
Well, yeah, but it's also the answer.
But it's the end of him, and I knew it. So then I felt a lot better about taking
Flyer
because now I know that the one I was after is gone anyway.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to say I was going to pass fire up if he walked by me.
Nah,
I mean, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't have did it anyway.
I would hope not. That was a great deer. Because I'll tell you right now, I'd have shot that deer. You walked by me.
We like to say, well, this is the one we're after, and we're not going to shoot one. But if a good one comes, he's probably going to get it.
Yeah.
You know?
If he's a young deer, he's going to get an arrow.
Yep.
So.
Then there were only a couple days later.
Yeah. Down at my place, then Mike shot his buck the 29th. 30th rolls around, and went down to my place again. Was hunting 3/4 of the way up the ridge, hunting between bedding areas, expecting some transition and some movement in there, and just was not seeing what I wanted to see, dude. And so I thought, well, heck. I said, it's been 5 days since we've hunted the bottom. I'm going to come in the morning when it's cool, and I'm going to hunt the east side of Mom's plot, or the sweeper set is what we call it. I had shot a 10-pointer a few years ago there. It's kind of a corner where the creek makes a 90-degree bend, stands right in a box elder on the corner, cornfield to my east, Mom's plot right in front of me, and to my west, which was clover and chicory. And the deer like to transition off that hillside to the north. So I'm in there in the morning. What I didn't know is I had lots of pictures of bucks that night.
Yeah.
And of course I walked by the camera or whatever, and the pictures of me going in. So I got there and see a little buck in the morning, come by. Nothing I was going to shoot, 1.5 old, a couple little does. And it's getting to be about 8:15, and I look down to my east and I see a body of a deer going up the ridge there, kind of off that point where the cornfield bends. I could tell if it was buck or doe, so I thought, I'm just going to sit there.
Crossing the road.
Yeah, he's going to cross the road to go to the north. Well, as soon as he got up there, I knew I'd be able to see him because you could see up in the field. I look up there and I could see rack. I'm like, yep. Grab the grunt call, as loud as I could, because he was 300, 350, maybe 400 yards away. And immediately turns down, starts coming along the field edge, Got him close to me. Hit him a couple times, turned my head away with some tending grunts into the bottom, making him think there's a buck down there with a doe. And he took the bait there, but he come right to the road, standing on the road. I'm like, get off the road, And I couldn't tell which deer it was at the time, but I knew it was one I was going to shoot. And so down he came, and I thought he was going to walk right into that cornfield, so I goes a full draw. I'm waiting, and he's like, nope. He turns and comes back to the real thick stuff. Put a hard quartering shot on him. He was quartering at me really hard, actually, when you see the video. I didn't think it was that bad. But anyhow, I put an arrow in him, and he run behind me and across Mom's plot. I was a little worried about whether I waited about an hour and got down, found the arrow, realized, okay, yeah, I got guts on the arrow. That was the exit.
The arrow.
And, went back over, found the blood, found the deer, not 20 yards away.
It's got some
Where we
blood.
went into the real thick stuff and took down the drop 8, which we had a ton of pictures.
It smelled like it came out back.
Real nice 8-pointer. So that was the end of my whitetail season. And then Phil took one that night.
Yeah, I think it was that night, wasn't it?
It was that night, Halloween night.
Yeah, Phil, you hear us talk about him a lot. He went out west with us, good friend of ours. He had a lease that he was hunting, and was really telling me a lot of what he's seeing, and seeing this and seeing that, and he had never decoyed before. I like to decoy. I'm certain, if I think it's going to work. So he calls me because he kept wanting me to go with him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to go with you. I'm like, hey, I want you to go.
Yeah.
I want you to do it, So he calls me. I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm at work, and I was. And
Yeah.
I said, but you know what I'd do?
Yep.
He's like, what? I said, take your decoy. And I said, set him up. And I told him how to set him up.
Right.
Because he hadn't hunted with a decoy before. And we've talked about setting decoys.
Yeah.
If you listen to our podcast, we'll tell you.
We'll review it again, obviously.
You should set a decoy up. We'll get into that again. But anyway, he did it. Phil's a property. He hunts. And, he wanted me to keep going out with him. I wanted him to go on his own.
Right.
And get a buck. And he had a couple of good bucks out there. And he kept telling me, I keep seeing him come out under this stand, and because we had talked about where he had set his stand locations, and he just couldn't get in it,
Right.
to get close to him. And from what he was telling me, it sounded like in his area the bucks were aggressive. and they were looking to fight, which is I absolutely love that part.
Yeah,
I can see that, which I didn't get to do that this year. I didn't see it myself, which I love. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I said I would take a decoy. Set that decoy. I told him how to set it because he's never
Yeah, decoy.
decoy hunted before, and we talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll touch on it again this year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But set that decoy, and he's got a grunt call that I got him actually a couple of years ago, and he's been working with a little bit. So, gave that deer a couple of grunts when he came out. He came right to him.
Right.
And he shot him at 20 yards, a little cranked up.
A little bit.
And we gave him a lot of crap because we, the rookie footage. We did air his hunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
That he filmed, but he'll get better.
Yeah, we'll show you guys
It's hard
some of
to
the
do,
footage.
but
It's tough, yeah.
Never filmed a hunt. It's hard to do, but he got one then. So 3 of us were done.
Yep.
In 3 days.
3 days. 3
So
young deer.
it happened that quick, which was awesome.
Yep. And then, of course, we come to Mike and I's favorite hunt ever.
Yeah.
So Mike and I like to hunt western North Dakota spot and stalk mule deer.
Yep.
And we've been going to the same place for 23 years now together.
Yep.
And been successful, been unsuccessful, and we were all cranked up for this hunt.
Yep.
And then a week before we actually head out there, they get blasted with snow.
Yeah.
Early winter snowstorm.
And people think that, that's awesome, you got snow to hunt.
Oh yeah.
It is absolutely shit.
It's great for seeing deer.
Yeah, it's a shit show though with snow out there.
Shit show.
It gets so cold at night,
Yeah.
and the snow is like walking on aluminum cans.
Oh yeah. It's
You're not spotting and stalking mule deer.
If you're making noise, you're not spotting.
So it was brutal. The only thing that kind of saved us is it did get warmer during the days, during the mornings.
Yeah, it by midday, by noonish, on certain days, not the first couple days we were there, but as things progressed, it started to get warmer in middays, get into the mid 40s or low 40s, and the snow would actually start to soften up.
Yeah, you could walk it a little bit without, so to be pretty careful, but you could get in the places a little bit better.
There was a couple things going on this year for us when we were in North Dakota. There was, I don't want to say there was less animals, but there was less of the bigger deer, buck-wise. And I would say that was a big issue with what we were seeing. And we were earlier, I think the rut actually came later this year than normal. I don't know if that's a date thing. I'd have to look back at our notes and see over the past years, date-wise, rut-wise. Because it seems like the guys 2 weeks after us were seeing what we would see, I don't want to say 3 or 4 years ago.
Normally,
yeah. So...
yeah, if it was the weather that did it, or
what. But the first few days, I mean, don't get me wrong, we had our opportunities. I missed the same buck a couple times. I think Mike might have missed him once. There was even a bigger one than I ended up getting that I missed at 30 yards, and we made the perfect play on him, which made me very, very angry. We had a 5x5.
Yeah, that's the one that we didn't get.
Yeah.
We didn't get.
Well,
guys after us shot him.
Right. We both had opportunities.
Yeah, we did. We had him a couple times.
But mine was probably the best opportunity, and I did make him bleed. Put an arrow right across the top of his back. And, it is what it is. And the guys 2 weeks later shot him.
Yep.
Which, congratulations to them.
Yeah.
But it ends up being day 6, Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
And Mike and I are coming out of where we hunt, and there's this big 4x4 right immediately to our left, and he's crossing the road with his does. And I bomb out of the truck, and Mike bombs out of the truck, and he grabs his rangefinder, and I grab the bow, and I think the first yardage he called was like 89 yards.
80 something, yeah.
And he's heading straight away from us. Then it was 102. And they finally stopped and stood there at 120.
Yeah.
And I thought, I should probably fling an arrow.
I thought he was gonna for a second.
I thought differently of it.
He got back in the truck and left.
Yeah, got back in the truck and left. I'm like, he'll be here when we come back.
Yeah.
So then we went and Mike got on a really nice deer, set up perfect on him.
That was absolutely ridiculous. We know this property like we live there.
Yeah.
We really do. We've been there so much. And, we spotted this deer. I went out on my own because Karl's like, you might as well just go out there because we want to take 2 people out there. It's just double the noise. And
it was early, so it was real crunchy.
Yeah, it was really crunchy and cold. And, seeing him was a good buck. I don't even really know how big he was, to tell you the truth.
Big enough?
Yeah, he was a good deer. And he beds with a doe. So I just stood there the whole time and waited. Well, finally she moved and he moved. So I come around and I get in the truck and Karl comes back. I'm like, take me, down around the bend and drop me off. I'm like, we both know where these deer are coming. They're going to come right up and they cross this. We call it a road. It's not a road. It's a trail road to a rig.
It's a trail.
And they go into this other valley, which goes to this other piece where we hunt. And I'm like, drop me off. And I'm like, he's probably going to come right up this valley, And if he follows her out, I'm going to kill him.
Yep.
And it was absolutely perfect. Karl takes off, drops me off, looks back, sees them coming down the valley.
Yeah, they were coming right to him.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there and waiting, and, tucked behind some brush. He crests out of that valley at, I don't know, he was close, 40 yards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here it is. And he turns and goes over the hill. And I'm like, where the hell's he going? And the doe, of course, went around the other side of the hill and is standing, out in the, not the field, but out from the flat, yeah. And she decides to turn and go back. So he goes right back with her. And it was that quick. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. We watched deer cross that road a million times.
Yeah.
Do the exact same thing. And, he followed her. So that was over. And I was pissed. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, that is a perfect setup.
Yeah.
And it didn't work, so we took off. And I think then we went back to see if that one was bedded.
Yeah, we come up the intersection, kind of where those deer were, and you can see this whole huge hillside. And we spotted their does right away because they were up on their feet.
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
Yeah, I think there were 6 or 7 does. Yep. We're sitting there glass, and I'm like, where's the buck? Where's the buck? And all of a sudden, boom, he comes up out of the bottom. He gets up on this little flat about 3/4 of the way up the ridge like they normally do, and he beds right down. So he lays down, and the does are still standing there feeding and doing their thing. I said to Mike, well, we'll head up to the north of the property here and see if we come across anything. And if we do, great, we'll get on it. Mike can get on and get his chance. We'll come back and see if these deer are all bedded. And if they are, I'll put a stock on them. So we come back, went up there, wasn't much going on. Come back, and here they're all bedded now right on this flat and above it and below it, and they're everywhere. So we head to the south about a mile, and Mike drops me off. He heads back to the intersection so he can watch. So he's probably 700-800 yards away, and I start working my way up the ridge. All this is going to take a while, because it's steep and it's long. And I end up coming over the top, right on top of where I wanted to be. And like Mike said earlier in the show, he's talking about, we've been out there long enough that, you know to range things and range this. And I can't see the buck. I end up seeing one of his doe, and I'm ranging that. And I'm ranging the tree where I think I know the buck is bedded. Tree is right in front of where he is. I ranged that at 40 yards. And I was up there for, a while. And sooner or later, I kind of started to crest the edge, and one of the does picked up on whether it was my sound or whatever, because there was snow up there, but once you get to the edge, it's just pure shale. So walking on that's crunchy, and I got to the edge, the doe's kind of bound off, and I take a step forward, and I'm looking for the buck. I'm at like half draw, and I can't see him. I look back to my left, and he's through this tree, this cedar. I got about a 2-inch hole in front of me at about 22 yards, but I could see him clearly. Pull the bow back, pin's already set at 40. Put the pin right on his vitals, squeezed off, arrow cleared the hole, perfect. Went right through both lungs of the deer. He took off, ran 65 yards, and that was done. Which was awesome. Really nice 4x4, great buck. One of the bigger ones we actually seen that week. Mm-hmm. And then we had a 700-yard drag back to the truck.
That was crap.
Yeah.
I specifically told you when you shoot the deer, you make him run this way. I told him this.
He did.
This is documented.
It's true.
And he did not do it. He's like, well, he kind of ran that way. I'm like, no, he didn't. He ran across the hill.
He went down first, then he went across.
Yeah, he went down, then he went back up.
Yeah, that's
which they
true.
like to do.
Yeah, they have that tendency. But that's where he died.
Yeah.
So we got that done. Ran back to the house quick. Grabbed some cheese for lunch.
Yeah, cheese and some water.
Cheese and water.
Out.
And headed back out immediately.
Yeah, we, like, I know probably a lot of people know, we usually take turns when we're hunting.
Yeah,
Like, if a guy takes off and he's after a buck or, whatever, and it doesn't work, then, then the other guy goes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we do. So they don't care. It's not like, well, I'm going after this one because he's bigger. It's, or whoever grabs their bow first out of the truck.
Yeah.
Might be. Yeah. And then the other guy's ranging, so that's kind of how we do it. But yeah, we went back and, it was, I don't know,
1:30. Yeah.
I don't even know. It was early afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's dark at 4:30.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
So the day goes away quick. We got about 9 hours of light. We went back to where we normally glass, and had that. I snuck up and had that big 5x5.
Oh yeah.
Had him at 88 yards, which is a long shot, but it's a shot I can make. I can make, and he's bedded long ways.
Yep.
Under a little cedar across the coulee from me. Karl's watching from the truck, so he can't see the deer, but I range him a couple times.
I filmed you.
Yeah, set my pin. I'm at full draw on him, and I'm just settling in. I'm just like, I get to a point where you tell yourself, settle in.
Make a good shot.
The pin just kind of floats there, and you make a night, and the bow just goes off, and I was just getting that point. I needed a couple more seconds, and he stands up and goes up the hill above where he was laying. I'm like, and I, pull the bow up on him, and then he takes off. Well, anyway, he had a doe with him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see her. She could see me. He couldn't see me, but it didn't matter. She busted, and he busted, and I was mad as hell again. I'm like, 2 seconds, and that deer's probably dead.
Yep.
And then, you see what he is when he takes off, which I didn't even know what he was.
Yeah.
I just seen his rack, and I'm like, I'm going to shoot him.
Yep.
I'm like, he looks like a good deer.
Yeah.
So we're not counting points.
No.
If you think we are, we're not.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I'm not assessing whether I think that deer's Pope and Young or nothing. I'm like, yep or no.
Yep. So we take off, and we're obviously, we're in full go mode the last several days here because it's Thanksgiving. Friday's our last day.
Yep.
So we're literally a day and a half left. We're going down, to a side of the property we don't go to a lot.
Yeah, the north side there.
That we can hunt. But we had been seeing deer there.
Yeah.
So we went down there and drive through and see a good buck with some doe. And we just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
And we're making a plan. We come back. And anyway, we come back and it's perfect. It really was. The deer's at, Karl's basically over my shoulder with the camera. The deer's at 45 yards, and he's bumping a doe. Just below a little ledge.
Yep.
But full body. You can see his full body. Can't see his legs. 45, I range him. I set my pin. Let it go. You hear it hit. The deer takes off. We're both looking at him.
Like, fall over. Yeah, he's going to die.
His ears are back. His tail's down.
Yep.
Like, thinking we crushed him.
Yep.
And we still kept watching him. Which we never do, I might add.
Yeah.
Normally we're throwing arrows and we talk about that. So I regret that again as I tell this story. The deer goes up and turns and I pull my binoculars up and look at him and there's no hole. There's no blood.
No, nothing.
And I look at Karl and he looks at me and we're no idea. We have no idea what happened. So I'm mad as hell to say the least, but he takes off and kind of pushes the doe up, and I'm like, I'm gonna go after him.
Yep.
So I go after him. Karl leaves. They kind of watch him go away, and I go after the deer, and I fall down in this pond, and I drop an arrow, I drop my release, and it's a cluster, and I get inside of 100 of them again. And he's just feeding. He's feeding with these doe, but I have no shot at him.
Yeah.
And the head doe starts to work back towards me, and I'm below this bank where I kept falling in the pond, which
Right.
you know where it is.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, it's gonna come right back to me. Like, this is gonna work, And I can hear something blowing, and I'm like, what is blowing? And above me, on the hillside, stands a 6x6 bull elk, looking straight at me, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding, blowing at me. So now these deer are alerted. The elk blows out of there, the deer blow out of there with him. I'm mad. I go after him again and never get there. Carl comes back and he sees the deer. The deer at that point got sick of it.
Yeah.
Left the doe, across the road, gone,
Yeah.
and up into the neighbor's land.
Neighbor's
basically.
property. Yeah.
So that's over, and I get in the truck, and I'm mad,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yep.
I'm like, and I'll say this, I'll say it every day, a 45-yard shot is a gimme.
Oh yeah.
I make that shot 100 out of 100 times.
Yeah, but what you didn't see is when you slow it down in slow motion.
Yeah.
Your shot was great. You just hit something before you hit the deer.
Yeah, I hit some
Brush
or
or something.
some scrubby brush or something, And I don't like to say it as an excuse, because I told Carl, I said, I don't know, I think I dropped my arm. I don't know what I did. I just blew it. I blew it.
Well, I didn't even see it until the video.
Yeah. So I thought maybe I dropped my arm out and did a peeky boo
Yeah.
to look. Well, anyway, I hit the brush. Doesn't matter. I'm mad about it. I'm still mad about it. I'm mad
Oh,
about
I know.
it today.
We're already prepping.
Yeah, I'm prepping different for it. And it's a thing I could have controlled, because
Built a whole new bunker so we can shoot out to 150
I
yards.
did. I built a new bunker to shoot. And I'll show that later, but... So we're going back, and it's quiet in the truck,
Pretty quiet.
because this is, it means so much, and it's hard to get an opportunity. So, and I'm dejected, and I'm not gonna say I was at quitting or anything like that, but just mad at the opportunity that I had, and that's gone now. So I'm like, all right, I gotta do something, And then I start getting mad, and I'm yelling, and I'm pissing and moaning to Karl about it, which is what we do,
We do that a lot too.
to each other,
Yep.
because we did it all week.
Yeah, we did.
Rolling back up another coulee where we go a lot, and Carl's like, looks like a pretty good, he's like, looks like a fork buck pushing some doe across the road. I'm like, let me out of the truck.
Yep.
He looks at me, I'm like, let me out of the truck. I'm like, I'm going after him. He's like, okay. So he lets him out. It was quick.
It was
Like,
quick.
he didn't even get the first shot on film.
No, I turned the damn camera on, and the camera's booting up, and all of a sudden I hear the bow go off.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm looking at the deer like, okay, and I get him just dropping over the top of the
he's
hill.
over the top of the hill, and it was, he was bumping a doe
Yeah.
on the hill right above us, basically. I had to shoot him uphill. And I hit him down low.
Wasn't really a bad shot.
It wasn't a bad shot, and then I thought it was a bad shot. I'm like, what? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Never stop shooting.
Yeah, and the deer goes up over the hill, and now I got to try to get up there.
Yep.
And if you watch in the video, you can see the blood behind me
Oh yeah.
going up over the hill.
Yeah.
And anyway, I get up over the hill. You'll see me. I range him again.
Yep.
Set my pin, go to shoot. He turns around and sees me and bolts.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? I'm
Yeah.
like, this is how my week's going right now.
Yep.
But anyway, long story short, we get around on him.
Get another arrow in.
And get another arrow in him, which is what we should have did to the bigger one. But whatever.
Yep.
So, and put him down. Ends up being a 3x2
Yep.
buck. Nice buck, big deer. And it was as hard as I've ever hunted out there.
I think that's the hardest we've
You know,
ever had.
Was he the biggest mule I ever shot? No, he wasn't. But I tell you what, it's the hardest one I ever worked for.
Yeah.
Especially, I say that now because I know what I'm doing. So it was more irritating to me than the other ones,
Yeah.
But nice buck. He will be on my wall.
Yep. He's
You know,
getting mounted.
But just a lot of emotion that goes into that stuff that I think people that know us don't see. And it's like I was tapped out. I was just done.
Well, you even said it in the interview. You're like, you said, I think your exact words were, I'm so dejected.
Yeah.
And that means, I'll tell you right now, that's a lot for him to say when he says he's dejected. Because I haven't met very many people that have the drive that he's got. And what I did in the military, the guys I hung out with, I'll tell you right now, They're all like him, and nobody ever says dejected unless you were like beat into submission type of beat. Where the average person would have just been like, I'm staying in the camper or staying
That's
in
what I
the
felt like.
trailer.
I just, just didn't feel like anything was working.
That's the other thing about both of us too, is if one of us gets down, the other one's going to push him. Because neither one of us are going to quit.
No.
I've been there, last time we were in North Dakota when I had mule deer tag, where Mike he's like, let's go, come on, we got another one.
Yep.
And that's how it works with each other, and that was the end of our season, basically. We did come back, we tried to hunt here. I only really went out once or twice, to be honest.
I once or twice and just watched.
And it got to the point where I was like, if he's made it this far, I'm just going to, because next year he'll be bigger.
Yep.
And
I agree.
There was some that made it on my property, some that made it on your property. We're not showing any pictures because too many people watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing we're going to change.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be... We'll talk about deer, but I don't think we're going to be showing as much of the deer that we have on our particular properties. But we'll talk about the stories when we shoot them for you guys.
Correct, sir.
We'll talk about laying things out and showing all of that part of it. But yeah, that was pretty much our year. And now it's January 31st. Tomorrow is going to be 2023, Mike.
Yeah, it'll be a new year. We have already started prep on this upcoming year. See, Archer's in on
Archer's
it.
in.
Like so.
He's hit. Yeah.
Stuff we're going to be doing, stuff, we got that ATA show coming up we're going to go to.
Yep, we got ATA coming here in, what is it, the 10th of January, 11th, 12th, somewhere in there.
Yep.
We're going to be over down in Indianapolis, ATA, talking to partners and checking out all the new equipment. We'll bring you guys any of the new equipment we think is cool, and stuff we might
be
be
shooting
using.
some different sites maybe this year.
Yeah, there's
We'll be trying those out.
couple new companies making some pretty neat stuff. I think we're gonna.
We'll be shooting the same bows.
We will be shooting PSE for sure, and we will be using Black Eagle arrows for sure.
Correct.
So, other than that, I think we're gonna call it a show. It was a good year, brother.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate hanging with you again, as always. Getting it done.
We got a whole new year now. We're done.
We got
Time to move on.
We got a new goal.
Moving forward.
We got a quadfecta.
Quadfecta, we're going to call it.
Quadfecta.
Let's see if we can get that done.
Actually, I do have an opportunity at another mule deer hunt.
Yeah, it could be a.
No, there's another one that I have.
I know. You said a little something the other day.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what it is. Quinfecta.
Quinfecta.
A lot of fecta.
We better get some more vacation from our real jobs.
I quit right now. I quit.
I will quit if it's mule deer hunt.
Yep.
I'll just tell them don't pay me for a week or two.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Okay.
I'll save up. I'll be all right.
Yep. Make it.
Yeah. Thanks for checking out the show. We'll talk to you guys next year.
Thanks for tuning in all year. We really appreciate it.
Right on. We're not even going to say the names of the podcast right now.
No, good luck out there. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll see you shortly.
All right.